Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving on Friar podcast. Back after taking a week off. December is here. Winter meetings arrive next week in Orlando. A somewhat eventful week. We got a Padres signing. We got
Can you really
ownership.
call it that, though?
Yes, technically it is a signing, Derek.
Okay. Ty Adcock. Yeah,
It's been a slow off season in that regard. So we are going to claim this as a signing. Ownership rumors, trade rumors, Craig Stammen hanging out in the Dominican Republic. So much to discuss on this edition of the On Friar podcast. Hope you are doing
I'm looking
well.
for my train whistle. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about the train whistle.
Okay, we got it. We're good.
Hope you are well. He is Derek Togerson. I am Darnay Tripp. Pleased to be with you on the afternoon of December the 4th, 2025. How are you, Derek? How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. How was yours?
It was good. It was good. Nothing too crazy, but food was good. Little family time. So no complaints on that front. And still just kind of waiting for this thing to pick up. Maybe Ty Adcock is the that's going to kind of get things rolling for this off season. The moves are going to come fast and furious now that we've broken the seal here a little bit. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Ty Adcock is on. The World Series Express has left the station.
Get excited, ladies and gentlemen. Get excited. Off we go. December 4th, the day the trajectory of the 2026 Padres changed.
Now, when he gets the save in Game 7 of the World Series, we're all going to feel really bad for making fun of this right now.
At that point, I think we will have made amends. If he is in that position, that means he's done some very good things from March on through late October. And so I think hopefully at that point, it'll be water under the bridge. But we will see the Ruben Niebla magic. See what they can do this time around.
Yeah, at this point, I think you or I could probably have a 4 ERA with Ruben Niebla teaching us how to throw.
There's a chance. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. All right. Thanks to OG's, sponsor of the On Friar podcast. Appreciate all they do for On Friar and the NBC 7 Sports Wrap team. Need a place to catch bowl season, college football playoff coming up, NFL, Sundays, NBA, NHL, whatever your sport of choice is, hit up OG's. Bunch of TVs, great menu, great beer list, and a bunch of locations around San Diego County. So shout out to OG's. Appreciate all they do for On Friar. Without further ado, oh no, I wasn't ready. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, see, this is what happens when you take a week off. You lose track of your belongings.
Forget where the walk-up music is.
There it is.
The music beds are kind of all over the place.
Found it. The walk-up music. It is the On Friar podcast brought to you by NBC 7. He is Derek Togerson. I am Darnay Tripp. Pleased to be joining you on a Thursday. We got a happy Thursday in the chat from
What's up, Daniel? Happy Thursday.
Daniel being with us. Hey to you, Daniel. Thanks for being along with us. Chip Rocks, our buddy in the chat. Give me some good news, guys. This has been an off season of dread for the Friar faithful. I need to pick me up to get me to spring training. We got a long ways to go before we get to spring training, but we will try and give you a boost as best we can over the course of the next 45 minutes to an hour. You got anything there, Derek?
Good news. Oh, God. You have to give me, it's kind of a tall order right now. I have to give me a second on that. They didn't know the pay for Dylan Cease like the Blue Jays did. There's your good news.
There you go. The Dodgers haven't really signed anybody of great significance, right? So does that count as a win?
Well, they're going to get Kyle Tucker, so that's just kind of. I'm just waiting for that thing to happen. With the Dodgers, it's always like just write them off. They run a different thing than everybody else does. So don't compare this offseason with the Padres or anyone else does to what the Dodgers do, because they're playing a different game than everybody else does anyway.
Kyle Tucker maybe to Toronto joining Dylan Cease, and Cody Ponce, another guy that you were hoping the Padres would have a shot at. He is now off the market. Yeah. So credit to Toronto remaining aggressive after, coming within a hair of claiming the World Series. They're really going for it. So got to respect that.
Although, are they going to be able to bring back Bichette? That's their clubhouse guy, man. That's their dude. So it's one of those where it's kind of, do you add a whole bunch of extra talent, but cut off your soul? It's be curious to see what they do with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. The big news of the day. We had the whistle. So, something significant happened in Padre land. Ty Adcock signed by the Padres. What a 1-year deal for 2026. The righty reliever, some time with Seattle and New York. And this is where we are in the Padres offseason, Derek. We're just kind of waiting for anything to happen. Even like rumors of something to happen, them connected to a notable free agent. Even that's been quiet. And so here we are in December. We'll see what happens in the winter meetings. Maybe things will pick up. You would imagine there will be some more rumblings and some more intrigue once we get a chance to hear from AJ Preller, and all of baseball's brightest minds are together there in Orlando. But for the time being, it is Ty Adcock. You got anything to make Chip Rocks fired up, excited about Ty Adcock?
No. I got nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing about Joe Adcock, or Ty Adcock, whatever the hell his name is. But nobody. I've never known any information about a guy named Adcock. I don't. He's a pitcher who threw over the course of the last 2 years was 7 1/3 innings with the Mets. He had about 11 or so innings with the Mariners in 2023, and that's it. That's all he's got. He's been a minor leaguer. He's got, in his entire career as a professional, he's got 3 starts. So he is not the guy we're stretching out to put in the rotation. Maybe this means they're now looking more at putting someone else who was a reliever into the rotation, a Morahone or a Mason Miller type. They're trying to build that back end or build the bullpen a little more so they can take a piece out of that and not have it hurt that unit all that much. Because as AJ said, he doesn't want to look up and have 2 mediocre units. He wants to make sure at least one of them stays elite. Right now, the bullpen is elite. Maybe this is backfilling the bullpen so they can take a piece out. That, or it's just a guy who's kind of like when you sign a 5th quarterback for training camp, just so you can get a guy just to throw balls to your wide receivers. It's maybe another dude to eat up Cactus League innings. I don't know.
And he's going to be a practice squad QB for the 2026 Padres. He is according to Baseball Reference, the 3rd Adcock in Major League Baseball history. The first being Joe Adcock, who played from 1950 to 1966.
That's where I got Joe Adcock from. Thank you.
2-time All-Star, 1957 World Series winner. Mm-hmm. And then more recently, Nathan Adcock, who was also spent time with the Mariners. He pitched with the Royals, Rangers, and Reds from 2011 to 2015. And now Ty Adcock, who we'll see where his fit is in the Padres bullpen, should be familiar with the Peoria Sports Complex when we catch up with him in February. And looks like he's got some good velocity on the fastball, slider, cutter at like 93. So we'll see what Niebla and Fritz can do with the guy. And, does he become the next Jeremiah Estrada, David Morgan type, addition seemingly out of nowhere that ends up being a significant arm? Best case scenario. That's what we're hoping for.
We can pray.
But I think it does lead to, it opens up the discussion about the bullpen. Like you said, Mason Miller, Adrian Morahone, Chip Rocks in the chat. For the love of God, keep Mason exactly where he is. Not good going down this road. Just saying.
Yeah, but why do people think that? That's what I don't
get. Right. Keep bullpen strong. Miller closing.
Okay. You can find, it's a hell of a lot easier to find closers than it is dominant starting pitchers.
As we've seen with the Padres through the
Padres,
years.
Right? I don't understand where this maniacal hatred of Miller going to the rotation is coming from. I like someone to explain that to me.
I mean, I think it's just the fear of the unknown. I think we've seen arm injuries pop up with guys that throw really hard, and Mason Miller throws really hard. So, then what does that look like over, 5-6+ innings every 5 days? How do you manage that? I think it's having something good that that you can rely on at that level. He's also like Mason Miller I'm sure Mason Miller as a starter would be a lot of fun. Mason Miller as a closer, as a high leverage reliever. I mean, we saw maybe the greatest pitch in Major League Baseball history, against the
Yes,
Cubs,
we did.
dotting what 104.3 or 5 or whatever it was.
104.5 on the outside black. Carson Kelly was a hitter. He was like that and went, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, what are you going to do? So I think it's just knowing what we have in Mason Miller and just the fear of injuries and what if it doesn't go well and this and that, which I can kind of understand. We've discussed this a little bit in the past. I think we both agree no on Adrian Morejon. Although our buddy John Conniff, I'll have to go back and find the text. The next day after listening to our episode, he kind of pushed back on that a little bit. But I think just kind of Morejon taking some time to get his legs under him as a Major League Baseball pitcher and really kind of figuring things out over the last couple of years. I don't know if I want to mess with that. I would be more apt to make that move with Mason Miller. And that's, going to be it continues to be one of the more interesting kind of subplots of this offseason.
Says that people think he's a max effort thrower as a reliever, right? And that's how he gets to 104.5. But people think that's how he's going to pitch every pitch as a starter. And it's simply not. He doesn't have to, so he's not going to. Like I said, he dials down to 98 and is still damn effective. And he works that slider in there, which, as we've talked about on this podcast, Arnie, might be a better pitch than the fastball. So he works the slider up there. It might help him avoid injury if he's not out there throwing max velocity every time. It is the max effort over 27, 28 pitches 2 days in a row. I would assume that is going to give you more of an injury issue or open you up to potential for more injury than throwing it 85% once every 5 days for a longer period. I mean, we're talking about physics and physiology here, right? I mean, am I missing something?
No, I don't think so. So yeah, and that's how he makes that transition. If they decide to go down that road, would be really interesting. And yes, we're not going to be seeing him throwing 104. Every so often we see it with these big arms in Major League Baseball. It's there when they need it, but we're not seeing it pitch to pitch like we would. Yeah, I was just looking back at John's saying that Morejon is a vastly better candidate as a starter than Miller. And I think part of that is the fastball use compared to Adrian Morejon. Billy in the chat saying doesn't mean it'll translate well as a starter, which is true. We don't, again, not everybody can make that.
We don't know.
That's jump. Now,
that's the whole thing. We don't know, but why the hell not try?
Yeah.
Being scared of some phantom, being scared of someone's going to get hurt. I mean, you just never put him on the mound in the first place in any capacity. And I know we gave up Leo DeVries to get him, and to watch him sit for a year would make that hurt even more, especially if DeVries is an all-star in a couple years. I get all of that, but you can't go through all this crap being scared of what might happen. You got to, where's your biggest need? Starting rotation. What's your biggest potential asset? Mason Miller. Put the two together, it makes a boatload of sense, especially when you've got a bullpen with the kind of elite depth the Padres have.
The other thing, too, is you mentioned kind of the value with that Leo DeVries trade. And one of the knocks on it was we gave up a prospect of that ilk for a closer, Now, if you transition him to a starting pitcher, there's greater value in a top flight starting pitcher. And so you have a chance to get more value while, maybe running some risk of an arm issue popping up, as they do it could happen to him in his current role as well. He's not necessarily immune to it. So, yeah, I can see both sides of it. I am open to it, but we'll see what direction they go. Morgan is the only one from Chip Rocks I'd be on board transitioning to a starter.
See, he's a guy with an even, I can see it for sure. He's a guy with an even shorter professional track or pitching track record. He never pitched in college. Right? In fact, I remember he was the opener for that one game. Hey, when's the last time you started a game? Never. Literally, he didn't start one in high school. He started one in Little League. Literally in Little League was the last time David Morgan started a baseball game. You talk about a guy who's got to build up. That's the dude who really you have to be careful with building up. At least throughout his collegiate career, Mason Miller was a starter. He's done it. He's been through throwing, once every 6-7 days, even every 5 days as a professional, and into the major leagues. In his first, when he first came up, he made 4 or 5 starts for the A's, put him on the shelf because he had a little elbow issue that's never flared up again, by the way. So Morgan is the one who he could certainly do it, but he's got a much longer runway to come up. In fact, he threw more innings this last year than he had ever thrown before. Remember, he had the shoulder problem. He had kind of that dead arm thing he was going through. So he's another guy who's going to be injury prone. I'm not saying don't do it, but if your fear is look at the guy who's going to be injury prone, the one that actually is more apt to have that happen is David Morgan. Now, also he's not the same loss that Mason Miller is. Not saying that David Morgan is not a fantastic asset to have. He's just not Mason Miller. So I don't know. If injury is your biggest concern, then why you put a guy out there who is going to be even more prone to injury transitioning in that kind of a role? It's fear. It's just fear talking.
It is a fair question. I wanted to bring this up as well. David J., who we know from his work with Mad Friars, on Twitter, Jeremiah Estrada is undoubtedly the most valuable trade commodity in the Padres organization. And I thought that's an interesting topic to.
You heard of Fernando Tatis Jr.
Well, okay. Maybe Fernando tops Jeremiah Estrada, but Jeremiah Estrada is somewhere near the top of the list. Still a pre-arbitration guy. Really, really good last couple seasons in relief. Not making a ton of money. If they need to address other needs, whether it's first base, whether it's the rotation, what would your level of comfort be? For a team that is short on these types of assets, valuable assets, attractive assets to other teams that they could potentially move to fill some of those slots. How do you see the possibility of the Jeremiah Estrada deal?
Apply the same logic that I've been giving you on the Tatis Jr. trade possibility. If it's a way to fill multiple holes, with him, you're going to have to get back another reliable relief arm, unless for some reason Ty Adcock is that guy. Because remember, Jeremiah Estrada was DFA'd by the Cubs. Nobody had any idea what he was going to turn out to be. And this is the Ruben Niebla effect, right? Maybe Ty Adcock is the new Jeremiah Estrada. And, Ruben taps into whatever it is that he taps into to get this guy to become that kind of a pitcher. It's the same kind of logic there, where if you can use that to fill multiple holes in your lineup, you'd be stupid not to do it, because you're dealing from a position of strength that hopefully does not diminish that strength to the level that it's going to be hurting that unit. And you're going to have Jason Adam coming back from an injury, which would be fantastic. So the bullpen is still going to be okay. So yeah, I would absolutely be on board with dealing someone like Jeremiah Estrada if it is the right deal and it makes your overall team better.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you mentioned Jason Adam, Ty Adcock, Kyle Hart, hopefully a healthy Brian Hoeing, Adrian Morejon,
David Morgan,
maybe Mason Miller, David Morgan.
Unfortunately, we still have Wandy Peralta. We got to work around that somehow.
58% ground ball rate. Bradley Rodriguez.
I love Bradley Rodriguez. That dude throws hard. And that dude, just talking to that guy, like he loves to compete. He loves the game of baseball. He's going to be a dude. He could be your new Jeremiah Estrada with a couple extra ticks on the MPH, and he's even younger.
Yeah, and I think too, one of your original points when we started discussing this is what are the easier positions to address? 6th through 9th inning guys, or starting rotation, first base, getting a little more slug in the lineup. Those are the issues that have continued to pop up and been more difficult for AJ Preller to address, and to address with any sort of like length to them, sustainability to them. He's brought in relievers. He's find these guys kind of diamonds in the rough, and they've made them really reliable arms. So you have all the faith in the world that he can do that. So if it means moving a Mason Miller into the rotation, if you're confident just his ability to make that move and to do it and to remain healthy, to part with the Jeremiah Estrada and fill need, like, yes, they're in this position where they obviously have to get creative, where we don't know how much money they have to play with, and they have a surplus of talent in that bullpen, even with Robert Suarez leaving. And maybe they don't have the best bullpen or top 3 bullpen in baseball. Do they have a top 10 bullpen? Like, is it still
Oh,
somewhat of a strength?
I'll tell you right now
Then
that they have so many arms in the bullpen that if losing Robert Suarez and losing potentially Mason Miller to the rotation and trading Jeremiah Estrada, there's still a top 10 bullpen in Major League Baseball. After Jason Adam returns.
Yeah, talking to him when Stammen had his introductory press conference, Jason thinks there's a good chance that he's there opening day. If not opening day, it's shortly thereafter. So it doesn't sound like you're going to lose much time, if any, with Jason Adams. So you feel good about that. I hadn't seen this. How legit is the news that Robert Suarez is likely to sign with the Giants? I'm okay with that. Or the Giants and not the Dodgers, but prefer he sign with the Rockies instead, don't we all?
I prefer he sign with the White Sox. It's a team you're going to see once a year. Don't have to worry about him for the National League. Go get out of the NL. Go to the Midwest. Go enjoy Tampa. Go somewhere in the AL. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Billy, by the way, was also right. We badly need starting pitching.
They badly need starting pitching, and so kind of whatever it takes to address that. And
there are 3 of them on the roster right now. You got Pivetta, Musgrove, and Vasquez, and that's it. And then a whole bunch of
and not necessarily knowing what Joe's going to look like. Todd was out there when he did the bike giveaway earlier this week and said, he feels great. I think what gives you some hope is, it's not like his rehab is taking him straight up to spring training. Like he was pushing it, with the potential or the hope of maybe being able to pitch in the postseason. He said maybe it's, for the best that they didn't do that. But I forget exactly when he was discussing this, but they're kind of in this weird in between where, like, do we keep throttling forward or do we scale back a little bit to kind of get back to our normal, like, off-season routine? Right. And so I think the fact that he's sitting here at this place now where he says it does feel different, but he's throwing pain-free. If the season started today or in a month, I think Joe Musgrove would probably be able to pitch for the San Diego Padres. And he's got that little extra runway to get to spring training, as long as, knock on wood, there's no setbacks or no issues, and he should be good to go. But there's always going to be that bit of uncertainty that pops up after TJ.
Yeah, remember he had it in October of 24.
Yeah.
So that'll be, by the time we get to February, that is 14, 15 months. That is October, November, December, January, February. So that's 16 months.
Yeah.
So he's good. 16. I mean, by the time you get to spring training, it's darn near 18 months. A year and a half is absolutely enough time. That's perfect.
And then there's Johnny Brito. Going to save the season.
Pick a guy. He's been a starter. He's been a starter with the Yankees. I would not have any issue with giving him a chance in spring training whatsoever.
Oh, yeah. I think you would have to. You want to venture a guess at one of these guys in the Bradley, Brito, David Morgan, throw Brian Hoeing in there, mix of kind of like unproven, at least with the Padres types guys that, if they emerge would be like a real answer to some serious questions for the Padres. Like you want to take a stab at the guy who's going to be that in 2026, whether it's in the bullpen, whether it's a starter, like somebody's got to pop. Who's it going to be?
Brito has the longest track record as a starter. When he was with the Yankees, he was actually pretty decent his first handful of starts with New York. And then I think the league kind of adjusted to him and he never fully adjusted back. And obviously he was having some arm issues. So he'd be the most obvious choice. I don't know if he'd be the one I would go with. If Hoeing's shoulder is okay, they've been talking about him doing it for a couple of years now. He's been a very effective multi-inning relief piece. And I'm not sure you want to, if he's ready to go with that, if you want to take him away from that particular role with the Padres. but then Brito could fill that role. So I'd say, okay, obvious choice, Brito. Guy who would surprise me the least, Brito. But maybe if I'm kind of going off the board here a little bit, I'd go with Brian Hoeing.
Yeah.
Again, assuming his shoulder is sound and he's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say some combination of David Morgan and Bradley. Maybe David Morgan has done enough to a degree at this point. Like we've seen him enough to make that less of a surprise. Not that I'd be surprised with really any of these guys. But it seems like between Morgan and Rodriguez, like one or both these guys seem it seems promising that one or both those guys become, significant contributors for the Padres, especially considering, if there's some attrition in the roster.
Yeah, see, Rodriguez, one of those guys whose stuff played up when he got to the bullpen. I like him in that role. Plus, again, just talking to him, he seems like he's wired well for that role. Like he seems like a guy who just his personality has a feel of a relief pitcher. A guy who's ready any day. Give me the ball. Don't matter when it is. Don't need so much of a routine like that. He just kind of screams that kind of mentality to me.
Yeah. Chip Rock saying a video of Crone pitching to Aaron Judge in the minors is blowing up. Cronenworth, our number 4 starter, problem solved.
How'd he do in that facing Aaron Judge?
I don't know. I don't think I've seen that video myself. Let me see if I can find this. On the topic of Jake Cronenworth, I don't know if you saw ESPN's list of top 25 potential trade targets this offseason. And
let me guess, Cronenworth's on there again. He's been on there for like 7 years in a row.
Cronenworth is on there. I think they gave him a 25% chance of getting dealt. And yeah, not as you indicated, not a huge surprise that Jake Cronenworth would be in that mix. It does bring some value. I think our outlook on his contract has kind of shifted a little bit through time. Had a better offensive season this past year. Good clubhouse guy, gives you some defensive versatility. A guy that you would like to have on your team. Maybe not playing first base.
Definitely not playing first. Absolutely not playing first base. No,
as we've discussed.
The Padres would trade him. Who wants him? That's the problem.
That's a very good question. I don't know. And 5 years, 60 million left on the contract. Let's see because they did give potential fits, and I didn't look to see who. No, that's not the one.
Well, I would have said the Tigers, but Gleyber Torres accepted the qualifying offer. And sending Jake back to Michigan would make all the sense in the world. But since Torres is back, they don't need a second baseman. That would have been, the fit to end all fits would be sending him to Detroit. That'd be perfect. But again, they don't need him because of Torres still being there for another year. The Yankees are always kind of looking for left-handed on base guys. That's why Luis Ariz has kind of been rumored to them so many times because they need people on base for all the guys who slug, and they need a little left-handed bat in the lineup somewhere. The Ben Rice, I don't think is the one they're truly, and Jazz Chisholm, not the ones really they're leaning too terribly much on. They need another guy in there because Bellinger's not going to be around. He's probably going to go to the Mets. So other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, they said they need to move money, and dealing Cronenworth is the easiest route to do so with his appealing versatility, 5 years and 60 million remaining on his deal. They list the Mariners, Pirates, Marlins, and Royals.
It makes no sense to send him to the Pirates because the Pirates don't know what they're doing. Mariners makes a lot of sense. Seattle makes a lot of sense. That would probably be the one that jumps out to me the most.
Mm-hmm. So the issue you potentially run into is, well, then who's you're already looking for a first baseman. Who's your second baseman going to be?
Mason McCoy. Mason McCoy is your new second baseman.
I don't know if I love that. Billy's saying yes, Jake needs to go.
And here's the thing. Remember, we love Jake.
Yes,
Jake is a great dude. I would take Jake on my team any day of the week. Maybe just not at $12 million a year if he's going to keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, but then that opens up another question you got to answer on the roster. And so are you trading one problem for another by
You're
moving
robbing
Jake?
Peter to pay Paul, right?
It feels a little bit that way now, not knowing what the return would be, but I don't know that it would blow any of us away. So that's kind of the issue there. So I don't know. I'm a little bit on the fence with it. I also think we've had these conversations about Jake for a while, and it hasn't led to anything. And he had a solid year for the Padres. Not an all-star, nothing to that degree, but a more reliable offensively than he had been for a couple seasons.
And he
So.
completely disappeared in the playoffs.
And he went over in the playoffs. So, don't love that part.
Not even the
but
littlest bit. Hey,
not
wait a
even.
minute. This is personal, Steve. He says, I would never let Jake marry my daughter. Jake, I would let Jake date my daughter and get to know him a little bit better. But I'd say that about literally anybody. I'd say that about Gandhi. All right. I'm very, very, very protective of my little girl.
Does Steve know something we don't know now? Jake did he get married? I know he's engaged.
He did. They got married last year. Yeah.
They got married. Yeah.
Jake is very happily married. So it's not going to, hopefully it's not going to be an issue for him. Hopefully you got it right the first time.
Jake is spoken for. I did find that. Let's see. Here we go, Derek.
Austin Pruitt and Cronenworth righty. Here's the 1-1 on Judge. A swing and a miss.
Oh, that is Bayou. He's getting, look at him ramping up on Aaron Judge.
And Cronenworth righty. Here's the 1-1 on Judge. A swing and a miss. High
there you
fastball,
go.
94 from Cronenworth.
That's our answer.
Judge is looping.
And Cronenworth righty. Here's the 1-1 on Judge. A swing and a miss.
Yeah, it's looping. Okay, so good. He's got good carry up in the zone.
Yeah, he does.
Good late life on that fastball. Probably got a decent spin rate. Only 94, but again, he's a second baseman throwing 94. I'll take that in a heartbeat. And not too shabby.
Sure.
Not too shabby from Jake.
Not at all. Not at all. Impressive.
Like this version of Aaron Judge probably wouldn't miss that. But hey, I like it. By the way, his mechanics were really good.
That looks good. Clean. Simple. Yeah.
Looks nice.
Which is what you'd expect from Jake Cronenworth. You wouldn't expect like a weird leg kick or you wouldn't expect Jake to be like a submarine guy. You'd expect just to be standard, fundamentally sound, clean.
Shohei Ohtani longs to be Jake Cronenworth.
Yes, he does. Ty Adcock, also a two-way guy back in the Elon days. So
yeah,
keep that in mind.
Good pinch hit bat off the bench late.
We have to move money. Apparently.
Yep. Got to move money. Totally agree. Not sure what that has to do with him dating anyone's daughter, but still.
Seems like that has to do with.
Maybe we get a dowry. The Padres get a dowry from Jake's family. Can we make that happen? Can we go back to the 1500s here?
I think this is in reference to having to trade Jake Cronenworth to open up some money. I think that's where Steve is going with his comment. Am I crazy in that this all feels very similar to last offseason, and there was a lot of doom and gloom, and they signed Nick Pivetta to kind of a quirky, team-friendly, at least first-year deal, and then everybody felt better, and they had a good roster, and they made some moves at the trade deadline, and they gave themselves a chance. They didn't play particularly well. Lost Ramon Laureano. So I just, it is certainly like a time of year where we can get a little bit panicky. I'm just not there yet because this feels a little bit similar to last year when there was the Roki Sasaki stuff and the ownership stuff, and we didn't know if they could spend. And they get Nick Pivetta, and we're like, okay, they're going to have a decent enough roster, and there they are winning 90 games, getting back to the postseason.
God, dude. That Roki Sasaki thing last year still pisses me off. I'm sorry.
We wasted a lot of our life.
We spend so much time on that, just hoping and praying, and you know what? I was willfully ignoring the fact that my gut and all the logic told me he was going to sign with the Dodgers. I was like, no, I'm going to keep hope alive. I'm going to keep going against everything that my brain is telling me and go with my heart, and it killed me in the end.
That's all you can do. It's all you can do. I'm trying to see how many. Oh, we didn't do too many. Oh, we talked about him a bunch. Oh, there's another one. At least 2 episodes where Roki Sasaki was like the thumbnail and the main topic, going back to last winter. But countless episodes where he was one of the topics. Certainly. While we're talking money, am I correct in believing that you brought up Joe Lacob when we were discussing a potential sale?
Yeah, one of the first guys I thought of.
Yeah, there you go. You see the Chronicle report?
No. Are
Okay.
they saying he's interested now? Yeah.
It's a report from an NBA source. A very, there's not a whole lot of meat on this bone. The quote is saying, yeah, that's something that he might be interested in exploring,
Well,
So,
of course he's interested in exploring it because the guy, he's addicted to championships. You saw that. Look how much he's blown through money with the Warriors. He's the guy who brought KD over there, and he tried to buy the A's before Fisher said no because he was going to move him to Vegas. When Artie Moreno said he was toying with the idea of selling the Angels with 2023, he was like, "I'm in. What do you want for it?" And Artie then backed out. He's been trying not just to buy a baseball team, but a baseball team in California. And if he can get his hands on a baseball team that has been as recently competitive as this one is, I mean, he would have bought the A's to try and win championships. The A's, darn A. The A's. Now his chance to maybe get the Padres, that is much further along the line down the road of potentially winning a championship. He's got to be frothing at the mouth for a chance to get this thing.
it's interesting. There's clear interest there in acquiring a Major League Baseball franchise. I don't know how much of that is him already having a presence in the Bay Area, the A's being in the Bay Area, his connection to the Angels. He was like a hot dog vendor or like was giving out tickets, as a kid growing up. So obviously connection there. I don't know of any with San Diego. I don't know if that matters either. I don't know if the
But does he
Angels.
have any in Anaheim?
Well, no, but that was his connection to the Angels. He grew up near the ballpark, so that's he's got that connection there. Obviously, the Bay Area, but I would think as a businessman, and he was asked about it in 2023, and he was like, "Yeah, well, about the A's." He's like, "Well, yeah, of course we'd be interested, but they're not for sale. But if they were for sale, we'd be stupid not to look into it." And so he clearly sees it as an attractive possibility, and San Diego stadium attendance. There's a lot to like about this franchise, star power, some playoff success in recent years. So I don't that seems, well, I don't know how legit any of this seems. We're just kind of throwing names at a wall with the Ballmers and the Joe Size and the Stan Kroenkes. Maybe there's a little bit more to it here with Joe Lacob, but certainly an interesting name that's worth kind of keeping tabs on going forward.
Joe Tsai is not going to buy the Padres. He's not.
We can dream. We can dream, Derek.
He just, yeah, maybe we can dream elsewhere because he just, that's not his business model. I don't think he has any interest in purchasing the Padres. He'd be awesome. He'd be amazing at it, but I don't think that has a whole lot of interest. I know he doesn't want anything to do with the NFL. I don't think the Major League Baseball model is terribly appealing to him right now.
Yeah. Lacob, according to Forbes, worth like 2.3 billion. And it was funny, people saying, well, he's not rich enough. We need we want Steve Cohen money. We need somebody that's rich enough that's going to go toe to toe with the Dodgers and be able to foot the bill for whatever, $400 million free agent that they want to sign. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if that guy is necessarily out there. It's funny seeing a guy like Joe Lacob and being like, I don't know if he's got enough in his pockets for me to feel comfortable with him owning the team. But
by the way, I also over the weekend I did talk to some folks with the Clippers about whether or not Steve Ballmer might be interested. By the way, Steve Ballmer, 4th or 5th richest man in the world, and still the single largest Microsoft shareholder that exists today. Sell off a few of those, you'll be able to buy the team just from doing that.
Sure.
Although capital gains will suck. But they say he is such a basketball junkie that they're not even sure if he would have any interest in having a Major League Baseball team just because it's not his thing.
Mm-hmm.
He loves basketball. Absolutely dies, lives, breathes, eats, sleeps basketball. So not that he wouldn't be able to, but so maybe he'd just be like, I mean, sure, it's a baseball team, but whatever. I just don't really care. So Steve Ballmer might very well be out as well. So, this is the chances are dwindling. Stan Kroenke, come at us.
Yeah, seriously. There was a great quote from Joe Lacob from a few years ago. He's on a podcast with Andre Iguodala and Evan Turner and said, at this stage of my life, I'm about one thing, and that's winning and winning championships. He's like, I'm maniacal about it. That's all I care about. And I'm like, that's the type of guy we want. Now, doing business in baseball is a little bit different from doing business in basketball. And so how does that translate? This market, yada, yada, yada. There's obviously the TV piece as well that we've discussed, and just the lack of funds that are coming in from that compared to certainly the team up north, as well as compared to what the Padres used to be getting. So all factors therein. But and Joe, another thing that Joe was asked about on was that Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday. He had a great quote, like, we just want somebody who's going to win. He said, I've played for teams where they ran the organization like a business. And I was like, I bet you're talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates, Joe. It's them, the Astros, and the Padres. So I feel pretty confident that he was referencing, without saying them, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, it's not the Astros.
It's not the Astros.
It's also
So
not the Blue Jays.
it's not the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he was drafted by the Blue Jays. He's been in that organization.
So, he had a great, and I think very much, leave it to Joe to kind of speak for the fans there. Like, don't want somebody that's going to see this as a way of making a bunch of money. Because as we've seen, like, there was the Bob Nightingale report that teams were down like 1.8 billion or something like that. This past year or what have you. A lot of that coming from Steve Cohen and the Mets. So somebody that's going to be apt to follow in the footsteps of Peter Seiler with that type of investment in the team and coming out of their own pockets, perhaps, to bring in star players and to truly, genuinely chase a championship. That's what Joe wants. That's what all of us want. And to be determined who that is, but I don't think that that's John Seiler.
How about Larry Ellison?
How about him?
I like the idea of Larry Ellison.
He's in the news a lot these days.
By the way, looking at the Forbes Real-Time Billionaires list, he's the second richest man in the world at $267 billion.
Is that
by the way, he obviously is a big sports fan, and he has a ties to San Diego. He kept all of his America's Cup boats here. He trained them here. He ran them here, right there in San Diego Bay. He has a long tie here to San Diego. Part of the reason the America's Cup at one point did come back to San Diego. So he's a baseball fan. He's making some NIL waves. I think he's 81 years old. He's a Michigan guy. Get Cronenworth in there to recruit him. There you go. If Jake recruits Larry Ellison, he can date anybody's daughter. That would be awesome. So Larry Ellison's a guy who I could pop briefly in my head, and I was like, nah, man, he's 81, maybe not. But as we start to think about who else might be in, he's obviously a big sports guy who loves to win things. So maybe not be the worst idea in the world.
The age might scare me off a little bit.
Yeah, true. I mean, Warren Buffett's 95. He's still going. Warren Buffett. There you go. Get Warren Buffett to come by this team.
I like it. I like having an ownership rumor. This is new. We've just dealt with every single rumor imaginable in Padres land since you and I started doing this podcast, but not ownership rumors quite like this. And so I was excited when that popped up the other night. We'll see what others emerge in the weeks and months to come. I wonder when is this thing going to actually happen? There's not like there's a clock on this, so to speak.
No, it's one of those. It's like, and here's the thing too. Have we even heard definitively that they are selling, because all we've really officially been told is they
Exploring.
are open to exploring the idea of selling the team and have hired a company to help facilitate it.
Yeah.
Which, if the company comes back and goes, yeah, this ain't going to work financially, then they ain't going to sell. So like a sale is not imminent. It's not like this, they're on the block. Here we go. Line up the bidders. It's still one of those like, all right, you got to kind of go through the process and see who's out there. And, I think we'd start hearing a lot more rumors about people who might want to own this thing if they actually said, yes, we are selling the team. But it's like what John Seiler does with everything. He just kind of dips his toe in the water and does it behind the scenes and doesn't commit to anything. And we're all left wondering what the hell is going on in his head. Make a decision. Help us out. Help us help you. All right.
I just think it would be a guy who is already clearly uncomfortable in this position, an even more uncomfortable situation for him the longer this goes. And if he decides, hey, we've had a change of heart, the market has told us that this is not the right time to do it, we're hanging on. It doesn't seem like a comfortable seat for John Seiler to be in. If it were, I always find myself going to, like, if Peter Seiler were still around and Peter Seiler were doing this, it would be a gut punch to fans. It would be hard, but like there's so much love and admiration for Peter Seiler, and he would also like face it. Like he would talk to us. He would address the fans. He would have something to say. He would stand there and be visible and explain his perspective, things that John Seiler does not do. And so, it'd be an opportunity to kind of like help those on the outside understand their thinking. Either there'd be some hard feelings, I'm sure, regardless, but in a situation with a guy like John Seiler, who we just don't know, who's not been available to us, and the fan base just doesn't have that connection with, just feels like it could be a really uncomfortable spot for him to be in, and he does not seem like the type of guy that enjoys being uncomfortable.
Yeah. By the way, how about Roberto said Ellison would give the right to CBS? And that's actually a really good point. I had neglected to realize that his son, David Ellison, is going to be taking over the Skydance Paramount's CBS merger. That fixes our broadcast deal at the same time. Bam! Now the Padres are right there on Paramount and CBS. They got a massive broadcast partner. We're off and running. That fixes everything.
It doesn't work for us here on the Peacock, Derek.
Well, we're going to MLB is coming back to Peacock. We'll get probably like 5 Sunday games. We'll get a couple of Tuesday games. We'll be off and running, man.
There we go.
We're good to go.
Anything else? You see Craig Stammen hanging out in the DR, taking in some Winter League ball, visiting Fernando and the guys down there. So he's making the rounds. I would imagine that the stop in Dominican, maybe Miami, and then Orlando next week seems like a logical series of destinations for the new skipper.
Head out to Aruba, maybe.
Head out to Aruba as Schild did when he got the gig.
Go out to see Bogey. This is he's definitely making the rounds, which is nice. Also, not a bad place to go hang out this time of year.
Sure.
Now of course, obviously, neither is San Diego, and he's from Ohio, so pretty much any place south of that is gonna be preferable. So he's out there laying making the rounds. And by the way, I guarantee you, 86.5% of that trip is just trying to talk Toddy into getting his head right. That is all that is. Also, by the way, Luis Campusano is playing right now in the Dominican Winter League. Mm-hmm. So probably down there keeping tabs on Campy, maybe seeing, giving him a little bit of advice.
Yeah, I think he said Wandy as well.
Wandy's down there, yeah. So
I mentioned Laureano as well.
So there you go. Down there kind of getting to know a bunch of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and less time with Laureano, obviously. And then, the most important time will be with Fernando Tatis Jr. Just getting that situated, locked in, staying locked in. Put the blinders on. Just be a dude. Be that guy. Be him, please.
Be the ball
for a full year. Let's just block everything out.
Think about nothing else. Think about no lawsuits either that you filed or had filed against you. No paternity stuff. No, just let your agents and all the people take care of all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just do baseball.
Just do baseball.
Just do
baseball well. Just do baseball well.
Baseball has been very good to me. That's Sammy Sosa.
So we got winter meetings next week. So hopefully they'll kick up some dust there in Orlando and give us more to discuss. Maybe somebody will ask AJ about Joe Lacob.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, this Lacob thing makes a lot of sense, right? Again, by the way, I'm going to go and say we were the first people to report that because I'm pretty sure we were the first ones to come on and say, I think Joe Lacob would be great.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't give me credit. I did not bring him up, but I did remember when I saw that report from the San Francisco Chronicle, I believe it was Tuesday, thinking, I think Derek said Joe Lacob, because that one kind of caught me by surprise because, again, there were the usual suspects everybody was talking about. But yeah, credit to you for having Joe Lacob in mind, and I'm for it. Is he actually interested? We'll see. I don't know, but I like the possibility.
I will guarantee you he's interested. Guarantee you he's interested. Now, how deep that interest is, that's going to be the $64 million, well, the $2.5 billion question is how much is he willing to do to try and get his hands on a big league baseball team that he has wanted for years?
Yeah. Go for it, Jacob. Lacob. Make it happen.
Do it. We'll help. We'll take a collection. Let's start a Kickstarter. Help Joe Lacob buy the Padres.
Whatever it takes.
Started that, how much money, if you say, hey, listen, we're going to help Joe Lacob buy the Padres, how much do you think we could get in that pot in the next 4 months?
4 months.
Up until opening day. If we started now and then went to opening day. Like, how much money do you think Padres fans would kick in to send to Joe Lacob to be like, please, this is our little bit of extra in the pie to sweeten the deal to help you purchase the San Diego Padres?
So would the Padres then become like the Green Bay Packers, where fans and people in town are part owners of the franchise?
No, but I think anybody who does give at least $50 to the Kickstarter should get a ticket to a game of their choice.
Well, yeah, sure.
Like a lower bowl ticket to a game of their choice. No. How about this? Anybody who does it gets to spend a game in the owner's box.
So, okay. Yes. Now I'm on board. From Ballpark Pretzel, I'd rather kick in money on a sports arena on the Horton Plaza site.
Traffic would be a nightmare.
It
would be Sacramento's isn't working out all that well for them. Right down there in the middle of downtown.
Like the beam.
I like the idea. I do like the idea, and downtown arenas are awesome. Who's going to play there?
We're still wondering that about the Midway.
Yeah, who's going to play there?
Get a WNBA team, a NHL team.
Yeah. Well, the NHL is not coming here. They had two teams. Orange County and LA. Yeah. Then you have Vegas right there. You don't have to worry about Phoenix anymore. They moved to Utah. But that's 3 teams down here in this section of the world. Is not the NHL. I don't think has any interest in that whatsoever.
Does Anaheim need the Ducks?
No, but the Samueli family is very much entrenched in Orange County, who, by the way, they also own the Gulls. And I think they are some of the best owners in sports. So
Come south. It's nice down here.
Bring the Ducks down here.
Less traffic.
Good
fan base already. Yeah.
Like, you know what? Now you're talking. Maybe
it's perfect.
You'll still have a lot of the Orange County fans.
Yeah, it's easy.
Come on down here, and then the Gulls and then the Ducks can play in the same arena. The Sharks and the Barracuda play in the same arena up in San Jose. Why not? Have that thing get an extra 40-something home dates with an NHL team to anchor it.
Love it.
Move the Steels over there. You have Joe can bring the Nets over. The Nets are dying in Brooklyn. Okay, the Knicks own that entire state. There's no room. There's no room for the Nets there, right? They were persona non grata when they had Jason Kidd going to the finals. When they were in New Jersey,
Newark.
Moving to Brooklyn, it makes no sense. Joe, you own the Barclays Center. You can break your own lease. Bring the Nets to San Diego, man. Come on, let's go.
I'm here for it.
And I know it's the same kind of thing where you got, they'd rather go to Vegas. And sorry, the NBA would rather have a team in Vegas than San Diego. I can guarantee you that. But you got the Clippers and Lakers up there in LA, and you got the Suns with Phoenix. But the NBA is a different animal. You could put, it's not like you don't have to worry about Canada getting ticked off or another team going to a warm weather place. You could put another NBA team down here in Southern California. It would be fantastic.
I think along with Vegas, Seattle probably has first bids as well.
Yeah, they had one and they lost it. So did San Diego. So we're fine. We're equal in that regard.
Kindred
but
spirits.
we produced Bill Walton.
Darn right.
What major basketball player did Seattle produce?
Jamal Crawford.
We win.
Nate Robinson.
We still win.
Oh man. I love exploring these possibilities, but
and this is where we all just kind of start going crazy.
Yeah.
It's
fun to think about.
It's great to think. That's the thing, man. San Diego deserves something like San Diego deserves something massive like this. We've been dealing with such crap for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Give us something big and awesome and shiny and new that we can all get behind and go, come on, man.
SDFC, baby. We got behind SDFC.
A bunch of people did. Yeah. Several thousand people did. It certainly didn't have the same impact. Again, it's a brand new team, but Major League Soccer is still a curiosity in America. The NBA is a staple in America.
Yeah.
Plus the NBA is the greatest basketball league on the planet. Major League Soccer is like the 15th best soccer league on the planet.
It's growing, Derek. It's growing.
Yeah,
it's moving in the right direction. Upward trajectory.
We'll get about 4% of players on World Cup rosters who play in MLS.
Including Anders Dreyer. Let's go.
And maybe Chucky Lozano.
Chucky Lozano. Yeah. All right. We will catch you next week. Appreciate everybody being with us. And we will see you next Thursday. Unless, of course, there's some groundbreaking news at the winter meetings, in which case we'll see you before then. Thanks as always. We'll catch you then.